Feel the grip of the oar handle, smooth yet firm in your hands. Taste the salt of your own sweat and the occasional splash of water. It's all part of the journey. Welcome to another episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. Each week, our host, Masters Rowing Coach Rebecca Caro, dives deep into the world of Masters Rowing. Whether you're on the water or in the gym, join us to become a faster master. Let's go rowing.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. I'm Rebecca Caro and today we've got a topic that's quite close to my heart, which is resting heart rates. So pun definitely intended. Resting heart rates are so important for us as we age and as we continue training. And it's one of the cheapest, it's free ways of tracking your own physical well-being through your rowing year, through your life. One of the things that we all know about Masters Rowing is that our lives are not necessarily simple. We have quite a lot of stresses and pressures. People are working, people are caring for elderly parents, children. There are lots of things that come up, and not just illnesses. This is just life that happens to us that can affect us physically and, of course, mentally as well. So resting heart rate has been a part of my rowing life since I first discovered about its importance from the legendary Kiwi coach, Harry Mahon. He was my flatmate at the time, and he was extremely generous at answering dumb questions that anyone kind of wanted to ask him. And he would also share with us the things that he was doing with the elite crews that he was coaching, but which he felt had relevance for everybody. And the thing about this being important for masters is that often we're really used to carrying on, ploughing on, keeping going, keeping the show on the road, not showing that we're feeling under pressure or hiding or concealing our feelings, even from ourselves. And knowing how well you are in a general sense is a really important part of giving confidence to how you're going to approach today, how you're going to approach training for this week, for this weekend. So if you do use resting heart rate, what are the things that it'll teach you? What's it useful for? Now, it's useful for a couple of different things. One is, in the longer term, it's a useful indicator of your fitness. How fit is your body? The fitter you are, the easier your heart pumps blood around your vascular system, and the lower the heart rate you tend to have. Heart rates are really individual. So what's normal for me may not be normal for you. I used to row with a girl called Kate who had a naturally low heart rate. And we were both using heart rate monitors with a chest strap and doing racing pieces in our pair. And after we'd done a particularly intense session, I had told her what the highest number that I'd seen, what I thought was my maximum. And she laughed because she said, well, what are you normally at when we're just, doing a steady training row? And I said, I'm usually at something like 147. I was a bit younger then. And she just said, that's hilarious. She said, I'm virtually dead. If I hit 147, my heart is going crazy and it's about to top out. So it just proved, just between the two of us, how completely different we were physiologically. However, in addition to fitness, which is the first thing you'll learn, particularly if you track your heart rate over time, the other thing it'll tell you is a little bit about your readiness to train today. So there's a kind of long distance portion to this, and then there's a bit that's about the here and now. When you track your waking heartbeat regularly, you get to know what numbers are normal for you. And for me personally, for much of my life, it's been between 48 beats a minute and 52 beats a minute. And as I've got older, that has got a little higher on average because I'm less fit than I was when I was younger, but it's still reasonably consistent for me. And if you take your heart rate when you wake up in the morning for a week, you will begin to learn these numbers and what's normal for you. However, your readiness to train today is important. And one of the things that your resting heart rate tells you is if you are incubating a illness. So it usually an infection or a viral or bacterial infection will show up in your resting heart rate before you get symptoms. Now, since COVID, we've all been very sensitive to how our bodies react to viral infections. And you may remember back to the early days of testing, how you could have symptoms showing and the tests were still negative. This is a precursor to even that. Before you get symptoms, your heart is already responding to the viral infection that's in your body. And that might not be COVID. It might just be a common cold or a cough, or it can also be, you can get a slightly elevated heart rate if you're stressed or dehydrated or have had poor sleep or have an actual fever at the time. And what I found or find when I am tracking this daily is that if I am incubating a virus or I've got a fever coming on, my heart rate jumps very consistently to about 10 beats per minute above normal. So it's quite a lot. It's not like it's 1 or 2. And often I'll find it'll build over a couple of days. So the first day, maybe it's 5 higher. And then the second day, it's very clearly 10 higher. And of course, correspondingly, at the end of a viral infection, I find it comes down. So my heart rate will go back to what's normal for me, and I still may be showing some remaining symptoms. You probably have had the experience where you've been off and sick for a while and you're dying to get back on the water and do a little row. And I have definitely had it happen to me quite a lot of times that I'll get on the water when I am definitely still showing symptoms and have a sort of medium intensity workout, maybe not as long as I might normally do. So trying to break my body back in gradually. And I find that the practice of exercise gets rid of the final bits of my viral infection. And I don't know if anyone else ever finds that, but I kind of find it can kind of clear it out and give you a little bit of what I call a lung opener, and then it goes. Now, my pulse obviously precedes that. It's come back to normal before I attempt to do that sort of a workout. So, finding your pulse, not too difficult to do. So, I have a rather loud alarm clock. So when I get over the excitement and my heart's racing as the alarm clock goes off and I've turned it off, what I'll do is I lie back down in bed and find my pulse. 2 places. Firstly, use 2 fingers, your first 2 fingers, to locate your pulse, not your thumb, because you actually have a pulse in your thumb. And you will then get a sort of a double reading. So 2 fingers. I find the easiest place is to find it on the side of my neck. And you just sort of move your fingers around a little bit. You'll probably find it quite easily. The other place is on your wrist. I use my right hand and my left wrist because I'm right-handed. And it's on the left-hand side, the thumb side of my wrist. And I'm showing you here, it's about, for me, 1.5 centimeters or 2 centimeters down from where my wrist joint is. So where your skin changes from being your palm skin to being the skin over the rest of your body, can't push down a little bit further from there. You want to get a 1 minute reading. Accuracy wise, you'll obviously need to look at a watch or set a timer. If you do a full minute, that's quite straightforward. You can, of course, do 30 seconds and then just double the score that you get. I would counsel against doing 15 seconds because when your heart rate's kind of low, multiplying it up introduces margins for error, because what you should do is when you feel that first pulse through your fingers, count 0 And then the next one after that is 1, 2, 3, and so on. But 30 seconds will give you a good indication. Now, of course, there are apps and sport watches and things that will also do this for you. You'll find many ways of doing it. The key is to keep a daily record so that you actually know in practice what's going on. And Faster Masters has a simple daily diary, which you can download from the rather long URL, which is on the screen here. And I'll put this into the show notes so that you can get it. It's a very simple record of your own training and your overnight health and well-being, plus your hydration state. So it's just a bit of paper, you print it out, you keep the record any way you want. This was given to me by Harry Mahon. And as I said, I like its simplicity because anyone can use it. So long as you have the means to take your own pulse, to record a minute, get a pen, get a paper, you can be keeping track of this for yourself. So resting heart rate, a really useful tool, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere as you're coming into winter when viruses are doing the rounds. We're definitely feeling it down here in New Zealand. We've got our Masters Rowing Championships this weekend. And I'm sad to say somebody has gone down with a dose of something. They told us yesterday while we were loading the trailer. And of course, that's really unfortunate for them, but it also affects everybody else because, of course, we have to then rejig crews and try and find substitutes, and there's a bit of paperwork. So not a good thing to happen, but it is a fact of life. And I'm not going to make excuses. You just have to roll your eyes and say, suck it up, buttercup. This is going to be happening. So I hope that's a useful guide for you. Do go check it out for yourself. And I hope that you find this a useful addition to finding out how you can manage your practice week by week.
We are part of the Rowing Chat Podcast Network. Please tell your fellow rowers about the show. If you've learned just one helpful thing from today's episode, please consider supporting the show for as little as $1 per month by visiting fastermastersrowing.com/podcast.